Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to the third race of the season for the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. We are here at the dirt track covered half mile, the world's greatest dirt track, Eldora Speedway, as we get set here for our qualifying heats before we prepare for the 35-lap main event here tonight. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Matthew Rodriguez. And Matt,
Howdy.
we know that when we covered race 1 at Volusia a couple of weeks ago, there was rather limited space and they were able to take it 3 and 4 wide. This track is very roomy, so what do we expect here this evening?
True. Obviously, with Eldora having a lot more room, high, low, middle, you can really run anywhere on this track. That's going to be the big challenge tonight. Seeing what lines have the speed, definitely into late in the race.
The big story for the past 2 weeks has been Bobby Trapper. He's gone a perfect 2 for 2 in finding victory lane, and he was actually the fastest in qualifying just moments ago. Subsequently, based on where they qualify, it kind of set up a random order of which qualifying heat they're in. Trapper is in this first heat, rolling off third behind Chris Sweat and David Harvey, your front row. Then Trapper and Bobby Puckett in row 2. Tony Lucarelli and Brent Sweet are going to make up row 3. And then we had the 3 of Jason Shue that was supposed to be rolling off from 7th, but doesn't look like he will be making the start here in this heat. So if he ends up showing up for the main event, he'll probably be starting shotgun on the field.
No, he just wants to get, or just add a little bit of extra difficulty for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No. So 35 laps here tonight these drivers have to prepare for. These heats, so to speak, are going to be 10 laps in length. So what can these drivers learn running less than a third of the distance that they're going to be running when we get to the main feature?
Realistically, these drivers in the first heat, they'll have the best experience on a new track. I'm more or less looking in the later heats when the track has been worn down a little bit more, when the groups are a little bit better set. I'd be looking and seeing, hey, where can I run later in the race to see if it has more speed?
And as we said here, with this track being a lot roomier, it's going to be interesting to see because a lot of drivers are going to have options. You're going to see some that'll go way down there next to the wall on the extreme inside line, but then you're going to have those that are going to be willing to hang it out as wide as possible, maybe up running right against the wall.
I mean, we've seen another series where some of these guys swear by the bottom line, some of them swear by the wall, and vice versa. It really just depends on driver preference and what they're comfortable with, and obviously if it has speed.
Now remember, in the qualifying session, it kind of determines which heat you're going to be in, which I believe is through random draw. Well, the random draw for these drivers puts them in a position to actually start pole position since they are in the first qualifying heat. So I would say out of the heats we're going to see here tonight, this one would carry the most weight because I'm not necessarily certain if track position is going to be super important here tonight just based on the number of options you've got of lanes you can run going into these corners.
I mean, you got to remember always with these dirt races, I mean, I'd love to be starting up as far front as possible. I hate to kind of wait through the early in the race, bang my stuff up, kind of waste it for later on.
And already we're going 3 wide, 4 wide up the middle. Bobby Puckett, what a move as he and David Harvey, who took lanes 2 and 4, they're now battling for the lead, coming through turn 3 and 4, and no, into the wall went the 17. Oh, and that's a 40 getting loose. He comes down to the 17, who then in turn came down to the 59. Somehow, someway, they all kept it straight. Not anymore. 69 Trapper, he saved it. Are you kidding me?
I remember this actually. Let's go.
And after all that, Tony Lucarelli in the 41 is going to take the top position. I mean, we had 5 wrecks right there. They just didn't happen.
Definitely some hard racing down low. I really just wonder if Lucarelli's like, man, I kind of want to get away from this as fast as possible.
I don't blame him as the battle's not going to be for second. Oh my goodness. Bobby Puckett sticking his machine only where 1 car length could fit. He's going to try and challenge Trapper for the second spot, but Trapper now, watch him get the run off the corner. He crosses over to the inside.
That's thing, just difference in line. See him send it.
Wow. That is a send. Right up to the outside wall goes Bobby Trapper, who again is trying to win the first 3 races on the season after winning last week at Kokomo and 2 weeks ago in the season opener at Volusia. He wants the lead. He drives it in deep on Lucarelli.
I don't think Lucarelli's going to give us up easy. He's had the kind of easy ride here. He hasn't had to fight them too much.
Riding on board with the 69 Bobby Trapper, who rides it wide, then drives it right down there towards that inside wall, almost touches the wall there, but you see the 41's able to rotate
Harvey.
a little bit better through the center.
Looks like Puckett got the inside wall there, lost third, went back to fourth here.
And now he's going to try and hold off Brent Sweet in the 59. You have Sweet and Sweat right there in 5th and 6th. As up at the front, about a car length and a half between Tony Lucarelli and Bobby Trapper with 2 laps remaining when they hit the stripe.
Seth, you didn't see this going into one, but Trapper was going to send it in there, and he kind of locked the brakes, making sure he didn't hit Lucarelli. I think he may have got something on that bottom line here.
See if he's going to be able to... Oh, he's going to fake him out. He's going to jump to the top, is Bobby Trapper. Right up there to the outside wall. Lucarelli jumps up to try and defend. 1 lap to go. Let's see what Bobby Trapper has here for the 41. He's made some pretty good moves on the final lap. Remember back at Volusia.
I don't know if he'll get that good run off. I think he's going to tap the wall here a little bit. I don't think he's going to have the run.
Oh, he's going to get close. Oh, 41 was sideways coming across the line, but by a little more than a tenth. Lucarelli is going to win this heat. Trapper second, then Harvey, Sweet, Puckett, and Sweat going to be your finishing order here. And so Tony Lucarelli, by benefit of winning this first heat, he will be your pole sitter for the 35 lap main event later on tonight.
Seth, that was only heat 1.
That
we haven't even gotten into the race.
That might as well have been the main event. The racing was so good. Gracious. Wow. Yeah, if you folks are waiting for that 35 lap main event, and this is the precursor, yeah, don't go anywhere because gracious me. Second heat is going to have Thomas Oleski starting on point alongside of Brett Black. Turd Ferguson, who was actually second fastest in qualifying, will line up third alongside of Brian Rubble. Abigail Winters and Jeff Gross going to be the 6 drivers here in this second heat race.
You know, I'm thinking Turd Ferguson definitely is a dark horse here. I didn't see him run in the first 2 races, but in practice he looked amazing.
He definitely did. And let's remind everybody as well, I do believe that everyone that showed up for tonight's race will actually make the main event as well. So all these drivers right now are fighting for is starting track position.
Yes, sir. Everyone makes the event.
And keep an eye on that 91 of Brett Black, because last week he had a really good run at Kokomo. He didn't lead, but he started second, finished second in that race. And so he was close to maybe knocking off Bobby Trapper from winning 2 in a row. We'll see what he's going to be able to do here in his heat, starting from the outside of row 1.
And green flags out. Brett gets an amazing start on the outside there.
Going to take it right up there to the outside wall. And this is a thing that we got to wonder here, Matt, because we saw in that first heat, all lines really getting used from top to bottom, and you mentioned that these drivers in the second and third heats, they're having to use the track that's already been used by previous heat races, so a little bit more searching going on for these drivers, and all those lanes had some rubber laid down in the first heat.
Absolutely, and here we come to the great battle of, I mean, what do you do when a guy's running your lane or the lane that you prefer? I mean, do you go a little bit lower and try to send it deeper, or do you try to diamond it down, try to get around him? See Ferguson getting a little bit pinched by, looks like Oleski there on the bottom.
If there's a driver I don't want to be right now, it is Turd Ferguson, because you got a car to your inside you got to give room to. Plus you have a car to your outside you got to give room to when you're swinging it into the corner and getting tight off the corner like that off of 4.
Ferguson at top, it almost works, but he was kind of pinching up high, ran Brett just a little bit deep into the wall.
One thing we know with these big block modifieds, they can be used as a weapon to move somebody out of the way, and these drivers not shy about doing that here, and this is only the qualifying heat. Is Oleski going to move Black up the track? He'll take second, but then crosses over, comes Brett Black, and then you got Brian Rubble back there saying, hey, I want to be a part of this battle for second place.
Obviously, you got to remember, these big blocks, they can take a few hits. They're not the most fragile car in the world, but you don't want to use them as a demo derby car.
Now, one thing I have noticed, these drivers are going to have to be a little bit careful of not only contact with each other, but contact with the outside wall. Of course, the right side tires on these machines do go out quite a ways outside of the chassis. So that outside wall, if you get those right side tires onto it, it will more than likely grab you. I saw a couple of cars actually do some backflips in practice in that kind of a situation. So they got to be careful of that.
Definitely seeing the difference in lanes between Oleski and Black here. Oleski is really trying to run that middle high lane, but I'm seeing Brett and Rubel trying to run that bottom, almost close to the wall lane. I'm trying to figure out if he's got something down or trying to look for a part of the track that just hasn't been used.
I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's searching for a part of the track that hasn't been used. If you watch the line that Oleski's running, you can actually start to see that dark gray line forming in the middle groove. That was used quite a bit back in the first heat, and even our race leader, Turd Ferguson, is running that line. So it might be searching for grip, trying to find a little bit more moisture in the corners.
I don't know. If I was Bobby Trapper, I'd be looking at Ferguson here like, man, he's got some speed. I'm watching him.
Yeah, these drivers had 5 minutes of qualifying, and Turd Ferguson had the pole position for about 3 of those 5 minutes before Trapper jumped up there to take the spot, as crossing the line and winning this heat is going to be Turd Ferguson, with Oleski, Brett Black, Abigail Winters, Jeff Gross, the top 5. Had a little bit of an issue there for Brian Rubel on, I think it was 2 to go. He faded from 4th all the way back to 6th, so not sure what happened to him there in the closing stages, but subsequently he won't have the best of starting positions in the main event.
Yeah, Rubel ended up on the final lap, cutting turn 1 just a little bit close, hit the inside wall, spun himself around.
Yeah, that's something I was going to ask you about too, because if we remember back to Volusia, we had drivers that ran so far down on the inside, especially over in turn 1, that they actually made contact with the inside wall and it would spin them around. Is that something these drivers are going to have to deal with here tonight?
I mean, you can give drivers the widest track and they'll always ask just a little bit more to dig. They just want a little bit more room to slide out. That's the thing where all these drivers kind of have to keep it in their eyes and keep it in their minds that, hey, we've only got a certain amount of track width to work, and kind of you got to run your line. You got to get used to that.
Billy Thornton is going to line up on the pole position here for this third heat. Thornton comes into this race third in points after a third-place performance last week at Kokomo, and actually was the biggest mover in that race. Started 13th and finished last car in the podium. Kenneth Drake will line up alongside of him. Jordan Erickson and Lupe Gonzalez in row 2. James Gutta and Chris McCauley going to be the 6 drivers to participate in this third heat.
Turd Ferguson's actually Jason Freeman.
Oh, well, the more you know. Jason Freeman. Okay, so 8th in points, Jason Freeman is the driver of the 20 machine. I have to wonder if that has to do with maybe the iRacing nickname and it didn't get swapped back.
Wonder if he was trying to make a joke.
he might have. Who knows? So we at least know that bit of information. So we can confirm Turd Ferguson not making his debut here tonight.
All right, that explains a lot.
Kenneth Drake on the top side of Billy Thompson. We'll see which line actually is going to work here in this third heat, because a lot of rubber's been laid down with 2 previous heats. Looks like Drake for the moment has the advantage, but Thornton's not going to give up easily.
You know, a guy I've kind of got my eye on here. I'm kind of curious how he's going to run tonight. James Gutta here. Obviously in the 5 car. Hasn't had that great of a start, as he looks like he had to avoid McCauley there. Actually, no, the 35 of Gonzalez. Kind of curious to see if he can pull it back and get kind of good.
Yeah, Gutta, last time we broadcasted, actually had a really good car. He ran really well in his qualifying heat, as I remember, but finished 8th. Last week, however, climbed his way up in the point stands after a 4th place run. He jumped up a total of 4 spots, up to 4th in the standings, only 32 points out of the points lead. And Billy Thornton, he rode the wall there through 3 and 4, and I don't know if that gained him anything or lost him anything. Looked like he actually lost some ground.
I need to see how close he can get to that wall and what his best advantage is. Obviously, you don't want to touch that wall, but it does slow you down. But, hey, there's no harm hitting in heats. You just don't want to hit it in the main event.
Lupe Gonzalez and Jordan Erickson's battle for third right now. The best one on the track. Erickson 6th in the points. Erickson is 6th in points. And Gonzalez currently finds himself 18th in points. Actually ran his first race last week at Kokomo.
You know, Thornton's another one that got my attention. Thornton currently 3rd in points. I'm really
Oh,
kind of
shoot,
curious.
there you go. That's exactly what I was talking about right there. Jordan Erickson, caution's going to come out here. He got up into the wall. The wall grabbed those right side tires and just spun him around, and I think he made some contact there with the 58 of Chris McCauley.
That just shows you all these drivers are really just trying to push the limit, see how close they can get up towards that wall. This also brings a very interesting question for later on in the races. I mean, right now, a lot of these drivers seem to either be migrating very low or very high. So as they start to migrate up to the high lane, are they really going to start pushing the limits and tagging the wall off of 2 and 4?
He drove it really wide on the entry of turn 1 to try and get around Lupe Gonzalez for 3rd place, and that car just never seemed to cross back into the middle or inside line coming off the turn. Ran the outside line the entirety and then made that contact there with the 58 of Chris McCauley. But to your point, these modifieds, they are definitely able to take a beating, so nobody had to come down pit road. And also with this being a heat race where only the green flag laps count, it sets us up for a 3-lap shootout.
Just looking through the field, obviously James in the 5, he's going to be I don't think he's going to be too thrilled about his starting position. Obviously he's trying to kind of work through his 4th place points position, see if he can improve that, make some ground up on Rubel and Trapper here.
Yeah, these drivers have a 12-race season. 2 races during the season actually are double points. In about 3 weeks' time, they'll be at Weed Sport for a double points event. And, of course, the season finale at the Charlotte Dirt Track is a double points event as well. So you want to have the best possible momentum going into those type of races. And, yeah, to your point, one poor performance, one good performance there for James Gutta. Tonight's kind of the, if you will, the rubber match for that 5 car.
Yeah, he hasn't really carried the speed. Oh, the 88 of Erickson got back of McCauley.
And caution's going to fly again. So it will be a 2-lap shootout now.
And that really looked like a miscalculation. That looked like, I mean, hey, I know the lines. I'm a bit faster and just didn't expect McCauley to be entering like that.
I saw McCauley drive really low going into turn 1, like he was thinking about maybe taking somebody possibly 3 wide for position. He was actually trying to make the move on Lupe Gonzalez. As here you see the restart, up through the gears they go, and yeah, it's just some miscommunication there on the part of the 58 and the 88.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I've been looking at that 58. It almost like he the brake a little, turned it a bit deep trying to stop, but I'm not sure why he was trying to stop exactly.
I mean, he was awfully sideways getting into that corner. I'm almost wondering if he thought his car was going to come around on him.
True.
So it will be a 2-lap shootout to decide this one, and Kenneth Drake's probably thinking, come on, I had this heat in hand, and you keep bringing him back to my back door.
I mean, Thornton's been getting kind of handed chances here. I mean, hey, you kind of got the leader right back to your door. What can you do with it? He got a terrible restart that last time. I think he's getting a little bit more up in the seat this time.
The thing is, for Billy Thornton, though, as well, we document when we come to dirt tracks like this, drivers will tell us it's rhythm tracks. It's all about rhythm. It's all about throttle control, and these cautions can actually throw you off your rhythm. So we'll see if Billy Thornton's going to be able to find his rhythm when he needs it the most. Remember, these drivers here, they are battling to see who is going to be starting 3rd for the 35-lap main event. That's going to be coming up very momentarily, and well, we've had a little bit of everything so far in these heat races, so this main event's going to be a good one. Here we go. 2-lap shootout as Drake gets a good jump. Battle's going to be for 2nd.
Thornton definitely got a much better jump that time, but still Drake is pulling away here.
McCauley not finding any grip down there on the bottom. Thornton's going to get 2nd. Lupe Gonzalez trying to go around the top side for 3rd, as it's about 2 car lengths with 1 lap to go from Drake back to Thornton. I don't think Thornton's within striking distance.
Definitely nice seeing Lupe up here.
Yeah, Lupe, a great run. As right now holds down the 3rd position. Looks like that's where he will finish, as Drake will cross the line for the win. Thornton 2nd, Gonzalez 3rd, McCauley, Gutta, and Erickson are going, actually make that Gutta in 4th. He actually got a couple of spots there on that final lap, passing both McCauley and Erickson.
And attaboy.
And that sets us up now for our LCQ, if you will, our consolation race. Like 4 drivers will be taking part in this one, a 12-lap dash. It'll be Chris Sweet, I'm to make that Chris Sweat rather, in the 28, Brian Rubel in the 4, Chris McCauley and Jason Shue. I don't think we had Jason Shue in the initial qualifying race, the heat race back in Heat 1, so it looks like it may just be 3 cars taking part in this 12-lap dash.
Absolutely. I'm not sure what happened to Shue here. I wonder if he had it looks like he just disconnected, so I'm not sure if he had any hardware failure or just maybe he wasn't feeling it tonight, but
Trying to remember, I don't think he laid down a lap in practice. So may have been here just to observe, don't know, but nonetheless, these are the drivers that are going to settle out the final 3 starting positions. Again, all drivers here tonight that took part in the heats and here in the consolation race, they will be in the 35-lap main event. So now the question is, and I remember, other races where we saw drivers that took part in the consolation races had that little bit of extra experience under their belt of what the track was going to feel like in the latter stages of the main event. I mean, does that give an advantage to these 3 drivers in particular?
I mean, to be honest, I don't know how much an advantage it really will afford them, but I'd like as much experience in this track as possible, because at least if you know what it does later into the run, you can kind of anticipate how it feels on a new track. I mean, here's the thing. If you run the worst conditions, you're a little bit better suited for the best conditions.
Green flag in the air as these 3 drivers will take 12 circuits around Eldora. And we're going to have ourselves a battle for the lead. Sweat was able to get a nice run the top side, but he has not been able to shake Brian Rubel in that 4 machine, who's going to take it right down to the bottom.
I'm not quite sure if I really agree with Rubel's idea about going all the way down to almost the inside wall. I just don't see the advantage there.
Well, I mean, maybe just making some notes here. I mean, these drivers know they're making it into the main event regardless. They know that they're going to be starting towards the rear of the field. So the only thing that they can really do right now, pull out their notebooks, make a couple of notes for later on in the main event race.
Absolutely. And I think Sweat's just going out there to have a little bit of fun. Brian's just trying to, I guess, maybe experiment lines.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's doing. He ran the bottom for the first couple of laps. Now he's going right out there towards the wall on the outside line. And now I guess Sweat's doing the same thing, because now he's actually going to kind of what we call diamond the corner. Drive it deep, let it ride up, and then rotate it through the center and exit low off the corner.
That's the thing. I mean, if you find something that works now, I mean, again, there's about 30-ish laps currently that will be ran by the end of this race on this track. So at least it gives you a little bit of experience later on in the race.
Let's take an opportunity here to go inside the cockpit of the 4 machine, and I love when we're at these dirt tracks to watch the hands on the steering wheel, and to be honest, not seeing a whole lot of jerking movement here with the steering wheel. Very smooth, and that's one thing that translates into speed at these dirt tracks, because if you can actually take the corner nice and smooth, it's going to translate into speed, especially on corner exit.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're fighting the car, I mean, I don't really know if you're having that fun of a time. If you're just kind of doing these single car runs, run and file, as smooth you can, it's going to up the car in front of you.
Now, we saw last week that you don't necessarily have to have the best qualifying effort to get a good finish. Case in point, Billy Thornton started 13th outside of the top 10 and managed to finish up in the 3rd position. So just because these drivers are in the consolation race, do not count them out. They could work their way through the field and be up there at the end, especially with the fact, too, people would think, well, 35 laps at a half-mile track, that's not a whole lot of time to work your way through the field, but again, that's 35 green flag laps. If you have a wreck take place up ahead of you with 12, 13 cars involved, make your way through, hey, you could be up inside the top 5 with still 10 laps to go.
Just reading the comments here. Definitely seeing Garrett Gleason, the first 2 heats set the bar high. Definitely not gonna dispute that any bit.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be certainly looking forward to what the 35-lap main event's going to look like, just based on what we saw in those heat races. And you and I, Matt, we were kind of taking some wagers here of could Bobby Trapper pull the 3 in a row, but there's some drivers here tonight based on what we saw in those heat races. They look like they've been able to find something, so Trapper may have his work cut out for him.
You sure you don't want to throw that commentator's curse on Trapper here?
No, I broke it in race 1. I'm not doubling down.
Hey, double or nothing.
No, thank you. Trapper will not thank me if he ends up on his roof. White flag was in the air, and now through 3 and 4, Chris Sweat will be lining up ahead of Brian Rubel and Chris McCauley, all three again at the rear of the field, but in the main show. And now it's time to go main event racing here, Matt. We've gotten a little bit of an idea. These drivers got a little bit of an idea of what this track's going to bring to the table and what these cars are going to be like on a slightly worn surface, as based off of their finishing positions in their respective heat, the way they will line up. Lupe Gonzalez will be leading us to the green. Brett Black will line up in second. David Harvey and Billy Thornton in third and fourth. Fifth place is where we'll find Thomas Oleski with Bobby Trapper, the points leader, in sixth. Kenneth Drake and Turd Ferguson, or again, better known as Jason Freeman, he is going to line up in row 4. Terry Lucarelli and Brent Sweet, they'll be in row 5. Abigail Winters, Jet Gutta in row 6. Bobby Puckett, Jeff Gross in row 7. Row 8 is where we will find Jordan Erickson and Chris Sweat, who we just saw win the consolation race. And then the final row, row 9, is where we'll find Brian Rubel and Chris McCauley. From what I remember back in race 1, Bobby Trapper did not start up close to the front of the field either. So we'll see if he's going to be able to cut his way through traffic early, get up there to the race lead. But, you know, you were talking about Lupe Gonzalez having a great run back in that third heat, and Brett Black had a good run in heat 2. So these could be two guys based off of good starting track position that might have a slight advantage at the start here.
I mean, you got to remember, Brett, I think Brett may have a small chip on his shoulder. I mean, he lost last week by about a second. Definitely looks like he had a strong showing at Kokomo, but just wasn't able to get the job done. I think a little bit of redemption here at Eldora.
Brett Black picked up the most spots with his runner-up finish last week, jumped from 14th to 9th in the point standings, 38 points back. Right now, the top 5 in points currently looks like this. Bobby Trapper, the points leader. Brian Rubel, who is going to be starting towards the back, so we'll keep tabs on him. He's second in points, 27 points out. Billy Thornton, 30 points out in third. James Gutta, 32 points out in fourth. And as we just mentioned, Brett Black, 38 points back, currently in the 5th position. One driver that is going to lose some spots here tonight will be Joe Garcia. He did not have a good performance last time out at Kokomo, dropped 7 spots in the standings from 2nd down to 9th, and he is not in the field here this evening. So in 2 races, looks like he will be making an exit from the top 10 in points. As here we go, green flag in the air, 35 green flag laps tonight at Eldora.
Just look at him fan out. About 3-4 wide back there.
And we got a car on pit road, I just noticed. The 5 of James Gutta. I'm not sure if he started from pit road or not, but look at this. We are 3 wide, almost 4 wide, around the 5th, 6th position.
I was looking at the 41 of Lucarelli, just kind of leaning on the 20 there. I think there's going to be a premium for space tonight.
Yeah, 3 wide in 2 areas of the top 10 there is Kenneth Drake on the bottom. That's Bobby Trapper in the middle. That was Thornton on the top side. 69 of Trapper having some connection issues. That's not good in the middle of a 3 wide situation.
Like I said, these guys are just giving each other just enough room to make it, but definitely not making life easy.
Now, I'm going to ask you, I mean, you know, we saw a lot of this type of racing in the first heat, maybe not so much in the second and third heat, so those guys in heat 1 might have a little bit more of an advantage of knowing just how much room they can give.
Absolutely, but it looks like Trapper's currently taking no prisoners. He wants to get up to the front end.
And he's going to go right up to the wall where not many cars are running. Ooh, was that Ferguson back there, or Freeman actually making some contact with David Harvey? Harvey's now way up on the top side, and look at him back behind them. Abigail, caution. We got a caution out. Tony Lucarelli in the 41 has looped around over, and I believe that's 1 and 2.
You want to know something interesting about David Harvey? When he was getting squeezed against the wall, never lifted.
I don't blame him.
Never lifted.
I do not blame him. Let's go back and see here what happened to Tony Lucarelli. Unfortunately for him, his car spun down to the inside facing the wrong way, so no choice for the race officials but to throw out the caution. He was battling at the time with Kenneth Drake up inside of the top 10. Looks like the two are going to make some contact going into turn 1.
Yeah, it looks like he just wasn't expecting to slow up that much, kind of send it in just a little bit deep. Now, remember, you cause a caution in this series, you are sent to the end of the longest line. So right now, Kenneth Drake has been sent to the back end for just being a little bit naughty, getting to the back of the 41.
Was that the 28 of Chris Sweat that slid through that? Someone was completely sideways and somehow split the two spinning machines. I think it was the 28. We're going to watch here. Watch the spin up ahead. Oh, gracious, you couldn't fit anything else in that space. What a move by Chris Sweat.
I was watching for it, and I was waiting for the sunglasses and the music to start.
Oh my, yeah, someone play the MLG music.
Boy, never stop driving.
Wow. That is amazing because as we know, Matt, when you go into a corner in a certain line, usually you're going to exit the corner in that line. There's no being able to change your line, at a split second. And so the fact that he sent it into the corner, choosing the exact correct line to be able to split those two cars, that's amazing.
I mean, these things are very expensive unguided missiles. So
that's a perfect way to describe it.
Oh, the 20 of Ferguson. It's a little bit of loose.
And they're going to go 4 wide. Was that Brett Black? No, it's Billy Thornton and Bobby Trapper that are going to split the 91 for second place.
Brett got a little bit of love tap. I think that was from Trapper. He kept it off the wall, though. The 22 of Oleski, he's going to throw a block.
Yeah, he's going to block Brett Black. Is now up on the top side of Black comes Harvey. Behind them, you've got Freeman, Brent Sweat, Abigail Winters. They're 3 wide. I mean, there's 3 wide all around. And we got a battle for the lead. Billy Thornton, high, wide, and handsome, is going to swing around Lupe Gonzalez for the top spot.
Thornton's definitely abusing that cushion right up near the wall, just trying to hang on it.
Caution is out. I believe it might have been David Harvey in the 17. I think he looped it around over in turn 3.
Yeah, it looks like he. Looks like he did the no-no that you were talking about. Got gripped just a little bit at a wrong time. Ended up hitting the wall and almost flipped the car around.
Was battling at the time with Brent Black in the 91. Oh wow, yeah, just overcorrected off the corner there. I mean, there's a little contact there as well with, I think that might have been the 88 of Jordan Erickson. Not too much, though. I guess the good news for David Harvey is that car came back down on all 4 wheels pretty quickly.
Shout out to the aware of Puckett. Puckett, I can't remember who that was on the bottom lane there. I believe that was Puckett and... Still looking here. Was that Quist, or was that...
Maybe the 4? Brian Rubel?
Actually, I think that was beginning. Both just kind of almost accordion on the bottom lane, just trying to avoid that 17. Did a great job of keeping off him.
So Billy Thornton, just moments after taking the race lead, is going to be leading us back to the green flag. 8 laps have been run under green flag conditions. Lupe Gonzalez will now be second. But Bobby Trapper, he has been picking them up, putting them down, working his way through the field from a 6th place starting position. He'll be alongside of Thomas Oleski. And Brett Black's going to complete the top 5 when we go back green. Still got 27 green flag laps to run. And now we'll see what this 11 car is able to do out in, I put this in air quotes, clean air.
Yeah, I really don't know if there's such thing as a clean air on the racetrack, or at least at this dirt track here. You always have someone just trying to send it. As you see Trapper on the bottom there.
Well, he did this back at Volusia. Would go right down to the inside line as low as he could go on restarts, and it might work for him. Nope, gets a little tight there off the corner. Actually, a great run off the corner for Lupe Gonzalez. That stacked him up from second on back.
Erickson ran Oleski just a little bit tight on the wall. Oleski lost a ton there.
What a great run right now for Jordan Erickson. Brought out 2 cautions back in the 3rd heat. And right now, up inside of the top 5, doing a great job as they're making contact for 5th place between Freeman and Black.
See, that's the thing. So good. Him on these main race heats, he just almost flips a switch. The heats are just done.
By Freeman and Black, they've got similarly colored machines. It's hard to tell without looking at the roof number who's on the inside, who's on the outside. But it's Freeman on the top. Inside is Black, and they're going to make some more contact. These two have been leaning on each other the last couple of laps, and now Ferguson's going to have the 22 Oleski right in his back bumper.
I mean, I was about to say they kept it straight, but they kept it sideways. I mean,
Gracious.
We're all heading in the right direction. See, Ferguson just sending it in.
Oh, goodness, who is that up there? Is that Sweat? Yeah, he rode the wall, and he's now spinning around over there.
Oh! He collected the 5 of Gutta and the 9 of Gross.
Boy, he went way up the wall there, did the 28. Almost looked like that car never turned coming off of the corner.
Looks like he sent it just a little bit too deep. He touched the wall on entry, but ended up running in the back of the 91. At that point, he was already attached to the wall, and there is no getting off of it.
He carried a lot of speed there because the back end of the car really never stepped out as we're accustomed to seeing. And with that car pointed straight, yeah, he carried a lot more speed than the drivers up ahead of him. I think that was a stack up between Oleski and Brett Black that actually caused the 28 to then run into the back of the 91 machine.
You know, I really wonder, because that's the second run we've seen off of the corner, where a lot of these drivers, at least entering the corner, they expect to have a lot less grip, and they expect the car to keep sliding out, or they're exiting the corner and expecting the car to keep sliding and just gets grip and straightens out.
Yeah,
so wonder if the track state's doing something to these guys, or they're not expecting that.
Yeah, you're right. It is definitely weird. I mean, we're now into the 13th lap of this race. Let's bear in mind that outside of the 3 drivers that took part in the consolation race, none of these drivers have run any more than 10 laps tonight in their respective heats. So, yeah, it might not be used to what that exit of the corner feels like when you get past that lap 10 mark.
Absolutely, and that's where I'm really going to wonder if the experience or the experience from some of these guys' heats are really going to come into play going later in the race, where Heat 2, Heat 3 was on a little bit more worn-down racetrack.
So 13 laps down, 22 laps to go as they hit the start-finish line. Thornton leading Bobby Trapper, and Trapper this time was trapped on the outside line, so he wasn't able to do his signature down to the wall, but as soon as he got clear, he goes down there, and let's see if he can clear Thornton here through 3 and 4. Thornton's going to get a much better exit. They'll still be side by side, and about a car length, Thornton's going to get Trapper at the start-finish line to lead that lap.
Man, Orleski is really trying to get by Brett Black here. Oh, it looks like Winters got him a little bit of the back of the 20 there.
Yeah, another driver, Brian Rubel, I think, might have either gotten the wall or gotten to the back of somebody. He lost a couple of spots. Yikes, this is close around that 5th position between the 22, 91, and 20.
Those 3 are not taking any prisoners. I mean, they are fighting for it.
The thing of it is, too, the harder they race for this position, the more drivers are going to come into their vicinity. Abigail Winters is now here. Kenneth Drake in the 71 down their inside line.
Brett Black just bodied the 22 out of the way.
And now they've caught the 35 of Lupe Gonzalez, so they've got to settle out this battle as they're trying to make their way around the 35 for the 4th position.
I'm going to tell you, Trapper and Thornton are loving this.
What did you call these? Something about missiles, something guided missiles? Because you hit the nail right in the head the way that these guys are using these machines right now.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are just sending it in here. Oh, Lupe Gonzalez! He was Winters is a bit of a pit.
Oh, he's going to go around. Caution's going to have to fly with oncoming traffic. They
hold
almost
it.
gathered it up.
Woo.
That was close. I think that might have been the 40 of Bobby Puckett that was trying to keep 35 from spinning out, but then the overcorrection back to the right sent the 35 car of Lupe Gonzalez around, and with the oncoming traffic, fortunately everybody able to avoid, but caution is going to wave for the 4th time here tonight as we just made it past the halfway point here of this main event.
Abigail Winters definitely tried her best, just trying to keep him straight. But the moment he got it corrected back, he kind of turned a little bit too much, overcorrected, and just spun it.
Lupe had actually just been passed for a couple of positions by Black and Freeman, and there you see the contact there, and then just trying to save it, almost went up into Puckett in the 40. Fortunately, did not make any other contact with any other machines, and that actually keeps the 35 in this race as well, because the front end was facing the wrong way. Any contact could have possibly taken the 35 car out of this race.
Well, now it's time to pick your brain a little bit. I mean, look at the top 3 in points. You got 1st and 3rd, or 3rd and 1st, and 1st and 2nd. I mean, you got 2nd and it's way back in 11th. I mean, what do you make of this?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think we're definitely seeing momentum. I mean, Trapper's got 2 wins, so he's got that momentum on his side. Thornton's coming off that good run last week, the runner-up finish, and gained a lot of spots in the standings. I'm not really certain about that 4 of Brian Rubel, to be honest with you, because the car looked good. It obviously didn't win the consolation race, but it looked good, at least in that consolation race. I'm surprised we haven't seen Rubel make any more forward progress as of right now. And boy, what a stack up on the restart. We were almost 3 wide before we even got the green flag in the air.
Thornton definitely was trying to play games there. I mean, got close to the inside wall, trying to get himself as much an advantage as possible, just to kind of send it into the inside or outside wall, give him a little bit more room there to get speed going.
It's interesting now, the 69 of Bobby Trapper, as that's going to be Freeman around, Drake is around. There's at least 3-4 cars that are around there on the front straightaway.
I mean, we knew it was going to happen eventually. They're going to get tired.
20. And let's see, it could be lack of grip as well. Remember, these drivers now have been out there for 20 laps. Those cars are not going to feel the grip they felt back on lap 1, as this was a slide job attempt for the 3rd position, and Ericsson was having none of it. Crosses Freeman back over, and then the entire track kind of got blockaded up as both drivers spun down to the inside. Great save there by Drake in the 71, though, because I think he snapped around but was able to correct it back.
Kenneth Drake got sniped. That was an amazing recovery.
Let's actually follow the 71 here, going through the front straightaway and into turn 1, because I thought he actually was looped around. Was surprised to see he was still going. There you see right there, gets hit in the right rear quarter panel, spins a nice little 360, keeps it going. Actually, a little contact there with the 5 of Gutta, and then Ericsson helps straighten him out as well.
I mean, kind of helped him get in this mess, so definitely helped him out a little bit.
Now, the bad news, though, for Kenneth Drake is it dropped him all the way back to the 17th position for this restart. So while it was a great save and give that 71 some style points, it's not going to help him in terms of track position here, as we're going to be getting closer to 10 laps to go, 14 laps to go when they take the green flag this next time by.
And again, we just see, obviously we don't see the laps tick over due to only laps counting under green, but you got to be wondering if some of these guys kind of getting antsy back here. I mean, we've seen a little bit more urgency from back of the pack to try to make that light race charge.
I believe Gutta, James Gutta in the 5, is restarting 11th. One thing that I was going to mention, but we had that 3 and 4 wide racing early on, so I kind of failed to, as I believe he started this race from pit road. And so subsequently started this race pretty much from dead last. Has done a nice job of picking his way through the field, now knocking on the door of the top 10. Green flag in the air, and it's going to be Freeman looking to the inside here on Bobby Trapper, who I was going to mention has kind of abandoned the inside line that he was using quite a bit on these restarts. He's now been migrating up towards that wall, same line that Billy Thornton's been running.
Really what's helping Thornton so much is he's getting these great restarts. I mean, he's kind of taking full advantage because he knows Trapper's fast. He knows he's consistent.
Oh, I think got a wreck.
Caution.
Yeah, we got a number of drivers over in the middle of 3 and 4. Brian Rubel, Tony Lucarelli. I think Kenneth Drake might have gotten a piece of that one. Jeff Gross in the 9. Lucarelli's going to be the one that leaves the scene last out of all those drivers.
I can't tell if the 4 actually hit the 9. So actually hit the brakes and spun it out himself to avoid hitting him.
Take a look and see here. As that actually wasn't the 9, that was
the 5.
Yeah, the 5 of Gutta that Rubel made the contact with. Yeah, the 9 actually made his way through, so we'll go back here and see what happened with the 5 of James Gutta, who I was just mentioning. Well, I guess the commentator's curse is back. Just mention him, and then he gets involved in the following caution.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Take a look here and see what exactly happened to him. The 4 of Lucarelli was involved in the first caution of the night and gets involved in this one. Here was the contact between the two, and 4 was actually kind of checked up there for a brief moment.
Man, that was just, it almost looked like he was slamming on the brakes at himself, just trying to avoid hitting him, and it almost looks like he just paid the price for it.
I think that's exactly what happened. Yeah, because as you saw, there was really no movement from the back of Gutta's machine. It was all the force snapping around, so I think you're exactly right. I think that was just a case of Rubel trying to avoid hitting the 5 of Gutta as we are back green.
Thornton tapped the wall. Trapper's now got the lead.
Well,
but
does
not
he?
for
Because
long.
Thornton's going to come back up on the outside line. They're going to be dead even at the stripe, and that outside line prevails. Start-finish line once again.
But that definitely has been showing that thin line the 11's been flirting with all races. That outside line has been kind of a godsend and very vicious for Bet 11.
And most everybody has migrated up to the top now of the top 5. The one driver that's way down there right against the inside wall is Brett Black in the 91. Now, he's not really making up ground, but he's not really losing ground either. Well, as soon as I say that now, he's just dropped outside the top 5. Abigail Winters going around for the 5th position, and Bobby Puckett now looks to the top side for 6th.
Definitely that inside line just does not have that great runoff. I mean, you're kind of sacrificing the time that you would get off for getting a really nice entry.
Battle for 3rd. Thomas Oleski pounding the back bumper of Jason Freeman for that position. As
Lupe Gonzalez!
To go.
Erickson! No
Erickson,
caution, though.
No caution. Both drivers kept it straight. We remain under the green flag. This drops Erickson back to 15th. Looks like Chris Sweat in the 28 might have been collected as well as he drifted back to 17th place. 7 laps to go for Thornton, who enjoys a 1.3 second lead over Bobby Trapper.
I'm going to tell you, Brett Black is just a blocking machine. That 40 of Puckett's been trying to get around him for a few laps. I think he may get it done now, but man, he just could not get around the back bumper of that 91 car.
Really surprised that Black still runs the inside line there. If he could find a lane up on the top side, I wonder if he would take it. He is now going to lose that spot to Bobby Puckett. Brent Swait is now going to go to his outside for 7th. James Gutta right behind him as well. Nice recovery for Gutta as he started this race from the rear of the field from pit road up towards the front. Battle starting to close in for the top position. Well, as soon as I say that, I think Trapper made a little bit of a mistake over there in 1 and 2. So now the gap is increased again with only 4 laps to go.
I mean, got to think Trapper wants to go perfect here, so I mean, he is going to be trying and sending it in. A little tap on the wall.
Kenneth Drake with a little bit of contact to himself and Gutta. There's a car that's down on the inside line. I think that might have been the 58 of McCulley off the pace. There he is. I think he is now letting the race leaders on by as Drake slide drops Brett Black for 7th. Black crosses over to the inside.
Just some hard battles on the field. I'm seeing Black and Kenneth Drake over there. It looks like James in the 5 car is actually making an amazing run back here. He's been involved in a few accidents himself.
Billy Thornton, the 11, saying, please, guys, please keep it straight here for a couple more corners. He wants to see that white flag in the air as it's 1.3 seconds back between him and a points leader, Bobby Trapper. He will take the white flag. Just 4 more corners at Eldora for the 11.
Oh, no! There's a car sitting on the high line there. He ended up getting out of the way in time, but definitely kind of threw Thornton off his game a little bit. Won't affect him, though.
That was Chris Sweat in the 28, but never mind. Billy Thornton is going to win here tonight at Eldora. It's his 2nd straight podium finish and 1st victory of the season. Well, I'm gonna say this. Commentator's curse has broken 2 races in a row. You called the 11. You called Thornton.
I don't know if I'd call Thornton, but he did an amazing job really kind of maintaining because he knew, I figured maybe he started getting a little bit flustered and tried to push a little bit hard, but he almost forced Trapper into a mistake by just running his line, just being consistent.
Exactly. To his credit, Billy Thornton never wavered from the line that he chose. He forced Bobby Trapper to have to do something different. And Thornton, who came into this race 30 points back from Bobby Trapper, yeah, he's not going to gain a whole lot with Trapper finishing runner-up, but he certainly is going to cut into that lead at least a little bit. Earning it down here at Eldora is Billy Thornton. Trapper is going to finish in 2nd, and Jason Freeman, who was really strong in his heat, he is going to complete the podium here tonight. Thomas Oleski, Abigail Winters going to be 4th and 5th. Have to double check, but I believe that is Abigail Winters' second start of the season. It is, and second top 5 on the year. Kenneth Drake will finish in 6th. Bobby Puckett in 7th. James Gutta, Brett Black, and Brent Sweet are going to complete the top 10. As we take a look at the rest of the finishing results here tonight, we did have a couple of drivers. They didn't come to pit road, but they were off the pace on that final green flag run to the checkers. Chris McCauley fell a lap down. Tony Lucarelli fell 2 laps down. And Chris Sweat, as we mentioned, had an incident on the final lap, had to teleport to pit road, subsequently lost 2 laps because of that. Well, let's take a look and see if we can talk with some of our top 3 finishers here tonight from Eldora. What a wild race it was, and let's see if we can start things off with the driver here tonight that raced under the name of Turd Ferguson, but in reality is Jason Freeman. Actually, we are going to hold off on talking with Jason Freeman. I believe he's actually doing some race admin things right now. So actually, let's see if we can leapfrog him for a brief moment and talk with our points leader coming into tonight. That, of course, being Bobby Trapper. Hey, Bobby, it's us up here in the FRM booth. You got us? We'll see if we can try again here. Hey, Bobby Trapper, it's Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got me? All right, looks like we might be having a little bit of difficulty getting in touch here with the points leader. So we'll hold off on that. He might currently be AFK. That's quite all right. We'll actually see if we can go down to Victory Lane and talk with first-time winner this season, Billy Thornton. Hey, Billy, it's Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, what a race here tonight. Tremendous job by you. Had that great starting track position and never looked back. But, man, around halfway on, you had the points leader and 2-time winner this season running you down. So what was the strategy to keep him in your rearview mirror?
I just stay up high. I was waiting for him. He's always fast, so I figured he'd be right there. But man, when I looked up in the mirror, it's nice to have mirrors in these things, and I didn't see him, man. That felt a lot better.
Now, Billy, as we documented in these heat races, it's kind of luck of the draw for you guys in which heat you get placed into. And you got placed into one of the later heats, so you got to experience what the track was like used up a little bit. Do you think that gave you an added advantage when you guys started heading towards the second half of this race?
If anything, I got to watch the other guys, see where they were running at. But this is usually where it ends up, what I've seen anyway. Like Eldora is always up around the top. But it didn't hurt.
We always talk about momentum. You had that great run, that runner-up finish last week at Kokomo. You now have the victory here tonight at Eldora. Next week at Lanier. How do you carry this momentum into that track?
I don't know. We'll see. I like Eldora. This is a fun track. Lanier's a tough track. We'll see what happens. We'll have fun.
All right, well, Billy, congratulations on your victory here tonight. Well-deserved, strong race car all night long. We're now going to give the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
I'd just like to thank Master Millwright, who sponsors the series, Rubel, Garrett, Tony, Freeman, that help out and help administrate this whole thing, and you guys for broadcasting it and streaming it on YouTube. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, Thornton Graphics, DRP, NEPA Cornhole, TNR, Total Nonstop Racing. Plug them all. Mr. Leak. Thanks, buddy.
That is Billy Thornton. He's your winner here tonight at Eldora Speedway. Congratulations, Billy, and looking forward to seeing you carry this momentum into next week. You've been on quite a roll.
Thanks a lot.
And we were going to talk with our second place finisher, Bobby Trapper. It looks like we might not actually have him available, so I'm going to see if we are going to be able to talk with our third place finisher here tonight, Jason Freeman. So just bear with me on that. But a good one here this evening at Eldora Speedway. A lot of action, but we completely expected this as well because, as Matt and I were talking about, we covered the first race 2 weeks ago when these drivers were at Volusia. A lot more room for these drivers to be able to work with here tonight. A lot more options. I think maybe all 4 available lanes to these drivers were being used in the final 10 laps of this race, with all these drivers trying to search for that little bit of added grip. But as we saw, that top line up around the wall was the line to run in the closing stages of this race. We might possibly now have our third place finisher, Jason Freeman. Jason, it's Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you up there.
Man, you were in a dogfight back in your heat, and then we saw you in the first couple of laps of the main event, also in a dogfight in 3 and 4 wide situations. I mean, we saw you guys do this back at Volusia as well. Couldn't believe you guys were able to keep it straight. You did the same thing here tonight, but just for all the viewers there watching, how difficult is it when you're going almost 45 degrees into the corner to be in a 3 wide situation, give room to drivers either on your left or your right, and the whole time be focused on trying to get that position?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely it was all about throttle control there. You definitely couldn't turn it in too soon. You pick the throttle out too much, you're going to wash up the track and the guy on the outside. And you just got to hope that they're doing the same thing and giving you the space and being polite about it, which there were some guys out there that were and some that weren't, but that's racing.
We obviously know that Eldora is one of the wider dirt tracks, give drivers a lot more options. We saw that obviously a lot of drivers were in what we call search mode around 20 laps to go. Were you able to find any little bit of added grip, or had all the lines been pretty much used up by the time you guys got to the end of the race?
Need to be on the top there to be fast at the end. That one caution, I got a little bit of front end damage. My car just didn't turn the way I wanted it to, so I was kind of scared to ride right up on the fence. About 2 lanes down, it looked like there was a little bit of grip, so I tried running that for a little, and those guys pulled away from me. Then I went back to the top, and I seemed to keep the same intervals between us, but I wasn't going to run them back down, but I probably should have just went to the top to begin with and stayed up there.
We obviously talk about these type of race cars, these big block modifieds. And, we saw a lot of times in the beginning stages of the main event, as well as in those heat races, drivers were not afraid to use those machines to kind of muscle other drivers out of the way. How difficult is it to be able to do that all the while keeping it straight? Because we saw quite a bit of contacts exchanged between you and the 91 lap after lap after lap, but never saw you guys spin out.
I was trying to stay off of him, and I was trying to race him clean and cross him back over, but it seemed like, almost seemed like every time I could cross him back over, he'd come back up and wash up, and I don't know, we'd make a little bit of contact, but luckily we were able to keep it straight there.
Well, Jason, obviously a great run for you here tonight. This will undoubtedly help propel you up through the point stands after that hard luck you had last week at Kokomo. So how do you think this finish here tonight's going to help you as far as looking ahead to Lanier next week?
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I think that'll be another fun track. It's a short track, but it's pretty wide. Volusia got caught up in some incidents and still ended up with a good finish there. Kokomo, I felt like I was really fast, but I wrecked myself there, got up top of the wall and wrecked it. But happy tonight with third. The 2 guys that finished first and second well, Thornton used to race these cars in real life. I don't think he does anymore, but Trapper does. He races in real life, so can't be upset the first real iRacer, I guess, back in line in third there. So we'll take that momentum and move into next week.
Well, Jason, congratulations on a great run here tonight, Eldora. We're now going to turn the microphone over, let you do some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
Yeah, check out Mason Dixon Cornhole on Facebook. Check out Mason Dixon Racing Esports is a streaming page I just started up. And then thank Master Millwright for putting this league on. Billy Thornton helps out with our Monday night league. So Garrett Gleason and Brian Rubel. But I think that's pretty much the gang. So just everyone that makes this happen on here for us.
Jason Freeman caps off the night here at Eldora with a third place performance. Congratulations there, Jason. And again, looking forward to seeing you carry this momentum into next week, of course, the remainder of the season as well. And that is going to conclude our coverage from Eldora here this evening. What a race, but did we expect anything less? Absolutely not. Things kicked off with the wildness of the first heat. Then we followed up with that second and third heat. Some good, hard racing, which was the precursor for what we fully expected for the 35-lap main event. Tonight, it's Billy Thornton that is able to topple the two-time winner and points leader Bobby Trapper for his first win of the season. And no doubt, we're going to have some movers and shakers through the entirety of the top 10 in points heading into Lanier next week. Should be a good one. Hope you guys enjoyed our coverage here tonight. If you haven't had your sim racing fill, head over to another broadcast that is currently underway as the G4 Sim Racing Series are beginning their race at North Wilkesboro. Should be a good one over there. But for Matthew Rodriguez, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for tuning in here tonight to race number 3 of the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series here at Eldora Speedway. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening as you've been watching a broadcast courtesy of the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support